Yeah, this is one chapter that has been introduced in 2013 only for fixed income. Earlier, it used to be a part of CFA level 2 to some extent. So they have brought it as a part of level 1 in 2013 only for June and December batches. So this is purely targeted towards the credit risk. The major focus of this is towards the credit risk. How do I typically evaluate the credit worthiness of any particular party, or how do I link the credit rating? So we have, while investing in bonds, we have talked about the different forms of credit risk. It could be because of default, it could be because of downgrade in the credit ratings, or it could be because of spread getting widened. So some of the things that are being focused from a credit risk standpoint, it means primarily a borrower. When do we say we are exposed to credit risk? Any borrower from us, he is failing to make interest and principal payments on time. Even time matters, right? Even if he is paying with a 1 month delay, we are still exposed to the credit risk. It's just not he not paying the interest and principal. Even not getting paid on time is also a case of default itself. And so that is where we are looking at default risk. Any default risk, there are two major aspects in it. One being the probability of default. So for any party whom we are talking of, we are looking at the probability of default. What is the chance that that party will get will default on the payment, and what is the severity of the loss in case the party defaults? What is the severity of the loss? So these two are very important in assessing the credit worthiness of any party. So if the loan amount is very small, the severity amount could be much smaller. Or probably if this party never defaulted, the probability of default could be much smaller. So we'll take only these two things, and probably the multiplication of this is generally what we call as the exposure. So the higher the exposure means the higher the chance of a credit risk. So we generally call it as exposure, or even we associate a word called expected loss. This number should be even shown as a part of the balance sheet items also, as a portion of expected loss, which is every bank or every financial institution should literally look at these two elements, multiply their exposure. There are different methods of calculating this and this. There are various mechanisms described by Basel to compute these things. But once they are computed, what we are more looking at is how do I look at the exposure associated with it, and based on the exposure, how do I take it into the financial statement. So when it comes to the default risk, which is a part of credit risk, the major thing we will be doing is identifying the probability of default, the severity of the default, and multiplying the two. And there is the credit spread risk, which is the widening of the gap between the bond yield and the treasury yield. We have talked about three different kinds of spreads in the earlier chapter. There could be a nominal spread, or a Z spread, Z spread, or an option adjusted spread. Whatever is the mechanism we are using to measure the spread, right? But the more important thing for us to look at is if the spread is widening, it's an indication of the credit spread risk. So it even can focus on the downgrade that can happen even because of the rating downgrade, or even the liquidity for any particular instrument. If the liquidity is not present adequately, then also there is a chance that the default, or there is a chance that you have to pay more. If the liquidity of a particular bond is very less, probably to compensate that, my return should go higher and higher, which is also an indicator that the spread is getting widened. And in typical from any corporate debt standpoint, the rankings are generally given by the rating agencies, basically on the seniority associated with it. Generally, the credit rating agencies also, they look at, they categorize every loan or every bond which you are issuing, they categorize it into some of these